All right, brethren, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. I'm here. Thank you, Creator, for this opportunity that you've given me again to be a light while I'm in this reality. Thank you, brother, for joining me. My name is JEHOVIH Ben Yisrael. Welcome to my channel where I'm just a brother who's trying to chase the Creator. I'm a brother, been around the block, older, been able to see the reality that the Creator is given to me to learn what's most important, to learn the things that really matter. And I just happen to have been able to endure and go through life's twists and turns and to stay with it, basically talking about to wonder about the Creator, to strive and struggle and deal with confusion and ignorance and the inability to comprehend this thing or that thing in life as it unfolds and its twists and turns. And what I've learned is that the Creator, He rewards your endurance, your diligence, your patience. If you just are able to be sincere and to seek Him in your heart, in your mind, then you will surely, I can only speak for myself, but he will find you. He will find you. Good to see you, Mahalia. Thank you for joining me, sis. Glad to hear you okay from the hurricane. Thank you for joining me, sis. So welcome again to my channel. I want to start off talking about something that, a couple of days ago, I don't want to say the Spirit gave me. You brethren who know me by now know I don't like to say that. I don't like to say that because everybody say it. The Spirit told me this, Spirit told me that. So it's like you got to automatically believe them, You're supposed to automatically believe them because they said the Spirit gave me this, Spirit gave me that, And I don't like that. I just don't like it. I don't want to try to force people to believe me because I said that. And so I may say something like I was inspired to believe this or that, or a thought came to me, something, along those lines. And I was a couple of days ago just meditating, and a thought did come to me to where I was told that free will belongs to man. Free will is for man. Free will is for man. In that case, man does have free will, but consequences belong to the Creator. That is, He allows you to decide what way you're going to move, and then the consequences come. And the Creator decides what the consequences will be, and that's where we are. We're in that situation. consequences belong to the Creator. That's the part that we don't really hear a lot about or think about when we are going through our whatever situation in this reality. The consequences belong to the Creator. And I thought it was pretty profound, the Creator, the way he can reveal those types of things. You know, when you just dedicate yourself to thinking and trying to listen to attain to the voice of the Creator, then these things, this wisdom, I perceive that it'll come upon you. It'll come upon you. I mean, we all want the best for ourselves. At the end of the day, we all want the best, highest for ourselves. You know, that should make sense. It's simply, you know, it's just, you know, a practical thing to do. We want the best, the highest for ourselves. The Creator knows that. He tells you how to acquire that. We also have a situation where we have the body, we have physical senses, and we have needs where we want to fulfill the desires of the body, to have the nice things of life, to bless ourselves, to, you know, do the highest by or to, you know, what's a good word for treat ourselves while we're in this reality, to give ourselves the best. What's a good word for existence that we could possibly have? I mean, that just is what it is. Now, I got a chance to talk to my brother earlier today before the broadcast, and really good conversation about just people in general. And I learned a little lesson that I'd like to share. We were discussing, me and my brother, we were discussing someone, and he was describing her. And she made a statement that got my attention. And this is what I really wanted to share with you, brother, because there are people like this in the world. And it goes along with the thought that I had, where the Creator gave me a thought that said that free will belongs to man, but the consequences belong to the Creator. Now, again, me and my brother, we were talking, and he was sharing with me a thought that the person that we were talking about, a thought that, or a statement that was made to him by this, it was a woman that he was describing to me. And he said she made the statement that I'm not going to let anyone say anything to try to convince me to leave God, the Christian God, the God of the Bible. I don't want anybody to try to talk me out of believing in God. I don't want anybody to try to change my mind about God. I will not deal with anybody who tries to get me to see things differently about God. Now, that's the third time that I've heard that. That's the third time that I've heard that in as little as a month coming out of somebody's mouth. That's the third time. And hearing it today, it made me think that one of the worst things that a person can have is a closed mind, to where let me give this example. If Satan was to come to me and say, Yaquab, you really shouldn't be believing in the OAHSPE or talking about the Creator, and you really don't know what trouble you're in. I wouldn't just shut him down and say, I don't believe it. I ain't talking to you. Don't talk to me. Don't say nothing to me. And I ain't listening to you. And even though I know you're Satan, and I know that I would say, all right, tell me why. Tell me why. What's wrong with what I'm believing in? What's going to happen with why I'm believing what I'm believing? What do you say? Now, I'm pretty sure that would be my response if somebody were to come to me and attack the things I'm trying to share and believe in, and the Creator and His Word and this sort of thing. I wouldn't close my mind. I would never close my mind like that. I would hear what they have to say. I would hear what they have to say, trusting that the Creator has given me the ability to decide for myself what's good and what's not, so that I don't have to shut nobody out. Anybody can say anything to me, and I can decide for myself whether or not it makes sense and is good and it's right, and if it resonates with me, and I can decide what direction I want to go in. But there are people in the world who they shut their minds. It's like a human weakness. People, they feel that they've attached themselves to something that's good, that's right, that won't deceive them, that loves them. And once that gets in their mind, I can see why they would say, I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to know anything else. I just want to stay with what I believe. And that's where the false gods, that's where their power is. In a nutshell, that's what this whole life really is all about. That's what it's all about, man. The Creator, He let the false gods, he basically, allowed them to rule over man, to rule over him, to deceive him, to show the false gods, and to show man that the Creator is all wisdom, all love, all light, all power. He lets the false gods subdue the earth. He lets the false gods subdue the children of the Creator. I'm talking about the faithless brother who can attain to His voice. All through these thousands of years, the Creator has allowed His people to be crushed, scattered, deceived, killed. The Creator, He's allowed that. He allows man ultimate free will to do what he thinks is right. We see the fruits of it. We haven't gotten anywhere. We've been ruled over by false gods, false lords. They deceived us. They've taken advantage of man's weakness, that he believes he cannot be deceived, that he knows what's right. And now here we are at a time where the Creator is rising up. He's raising up His children. He's put in motion the kingdom of God to come on earth. And we find ourselves in a reality where people who say that very same statement that my brother said the sister made, I ain't letting nobody tell me nothing about anything different than what I already believe, and that is the Bible. I don't want to, her mind is closed. Her mind is closed. I know lots of people like that. Their minds are closed. Their minds are closed. A closed mind is a world where we live in. You faith this, you live in. Now, again, this channel here, one of the major reasons for my channel is basically just to warn you against deity worship, deity idolatry, worshiping anything that was born of a woman. Anything that was born of a woman. That's the only thing, that's the major thing about this channel right here that I will be dogmatic on. If Satan were to come to me and say, look, you really are allowed to worship the divine mother, she's not born of a woman, she just is, making arguments like that, to get me to kind of sidestep, to kind of derail my belief system, because I'm here saying anything born of a woman anything. And I don't say it. The Creator is saying it. He makes it plain as day. Anything born of a woman, when you fall down, you worship that, then you will suffer the consequences of that. And the Creator explains what the consequences are. You'll go into slavery. You can be there for 100 or 1,000 years before you break out of your mind. You got to break out of your mind. We also read the OAHSPE Bible where the Creator, he said that when you cross over with the same mind you had 2 seconds, 1 second before you left your reality. You go into your spiritual with that same mind, thinking and doing the same things. That's what the Creator said. That's the danger right there. There's a verse in the Bible I love to refer, in the OAHSPE, I love to refer to it, where the Creator, he says, you're going to have to do without money the things you could have done with money in this reality. See, we don't understand the spiritual. We live in a world, you think this? You live in a world where people do not understand spiritual things. It's simple as that, man. You know, if you're a good person, you home free, man. You home free. You're a good dude, you know, you naturally are inclined to be selfless. You know, you get a kick out of doing things that, you know, bless other people, you know, that sort of thing. You are in a good position. But if you're a good dude, you worship, you fall down, you pray to something that was born of a woman, you got problems. You got serious problems, man. You know, so I think that sister my brother was talking to me about, she said, I ain't going to let nobody talk me out of nothing that has to do with separating, with to stop with letting go of the deity that I worship. I ain't going to let nobody, I ain't going to hear anything. I ain't going to let, that's, you know, from what I understand, my brother was talking to me. He said, that's the one thing she will not let anyone do. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, she's never going to leave her deity. She's never going to stop doing idolatry. And so again, if anything, this channel here, the main focus of this channel here, and I don't care if the Creator don't give me nothing else to say for the rest of my life, I'm going to always talk about the warning, the danger of deity worship. Deity worship, worshiping the deity. Worshiping a deity. The OAHSPE Bible is the latest revelation of the Creator, and it's a guidebook. It's a guidebook. You know, I don't see, I mean, the OAHSPE Bible is not dogmatic. It's not even dogmatic. It don't force you this way or that way. It's only for people who can hear it. And if you can't hear it, man, that is a big bet, because everywhere you read, you're going to read about the righteous gods. You're going to read about the wicked gods. You're going to see where the righteous gods, their whole thing was always about serving man, raising him up, elevating. It talks to you about the Ethereans. These are some spirits, man. They're just dedicated to helping mortals while we are in our reality, to learn to grow spiritually, to elevate spiritually, to receive, to realize all the good things that all of us want in life. To realize, we want good things, really. We all want good. You know, I read a post a brother put up about us controlling the elements and how he perceives that, according to the OAHSPE, the OAHSPE Bible, that we're going to be able to do that one day, control the elements. And I'm not surprised. Do you know that the Creator talks about, you know what? Look, I can show you. I want to show you something about what the Creator, see, wow, man, you know, wow. We settle for so little as a people, as a human being, as a mortal. Let me see. I'm taking care of some business while I'm doing my video. I hadn't even seen these requests to join my room. Okay, didn't mean to do that. Caught my eye. Thought I'd go ahead and take care of it. All right, now look, the creator, man, why would he create something only to put him in misery? Why would he, to see him suffer all their life, having no hope for anything better? The creator, man, wow, the creator, man, he's all about, our highest desires. Let me get this off my screen. Now, it should make sense that he's able to do it. Now, I want to show you where the creator says that he talks about you people. The creator talks about his children. He talks about his plans for you, the creator. Now, I'm saying all this in hopes of showing to get us to look at the creator as I don't know, what's a good word for always working in our best interest, whatever the word is for that. Always working in our best interest. And I did a study the other day where the creator said not to even spread this word that I'm talking about now. He says, don't even spread it. It's like he says, let them find me. Let them find me. And it's a fine line trying not to spread this word as opposed to appearing as if you are proselytizing, trying to recruit people. It's hard to try to share it, but not try to recruit people. I think all I can do is say that this word is not for everybody. And it pretty much, you have to find it. It doesn't resonate with me as coming and looking for you. You have to find this word. The Bible, it got shoved in our faces. Most of us didn't have a choice whether we were going to believe in it or not. And even that, from what I can perceive, it served the creator to prepare us in spirit. Because basically, Bible, it basically has a flavor on it of spirituality, eternity, esotericism, talking about things we don't know about. And so we kind of got set up, most of us, from what I can see and how we got introduced to it. And then the creator, it's like he let the Bible go first. And then his plan was to bring in the OAHSPE, because he knew that you would be able to hear his voice. Those of you brethren who have it in your heart to hear his voice, he knew that once he came out with it, you was going to be able to hear him in such a way that you were going to turn away from the world. That's the situation of faith asunder. We hear this word to such a degree that the world can't match it. Ain't nothing that it can say. We hear it. We hear our Father talking. We attain to his voice. And that's the Father letting you know. See, it's just like in this reality, I don't know. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway, that it seems like they watch us, angels, our guardians, he watches through life. They see what we do, what we think, what we say. And then they hand the report over to the creator. He say, yeah, this one over here, he's always wondered about you. He doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he's got a seed in his heart. He wants to know who you are. He keeps talking to himself, and people think he's crazy, but really he's trying to find out how to talk to you. He's been doing it for a while now, so I think it's a good time to go ahead, put the seed in him, so make it germinate, so he can begin to, he needs answers so that he can start growing and elevating in his spirit. And the creator says, okay, yeah, on this date here at this time, you go to him, put seed in him, introduce him to my word, and then he'll mark him in the registry of the heavenly records. Now, that's just me talking, but I don't think I'm too far off the way it worked for faith that's in this reality, and I think that's why the creator say, don't proselytize my word. Don't try to share it. I think that he wants us to proclaim the light to our brethren in order to strengthen them, to encourage them, to share it with them. I don't think that he wants us to go. As a matter of fact, I think we read that in the OAHSPE where the creator talks about, like, basically not broadcasting it to the world, in the sense that you try to get people up under you and, you open a church and then you try, I don't think that's not the will of the creator. And I really love that. It's like, there are people, I'm a draw, I'm going to get them. I'm going to introduce them to this word. They're going to hear it. And really, it's just to help us to fulfill the will of the creator. We ain't trying to serve ourselves. We trying to learn how to fulfill the will of the creator. That's all we called to do. Above everything, at the end of the day, the creator, he's teaching us how to conduct ourselves in this reality in order to be within his will. And basically, it's always the same, man. How to treat your brother, how to think about your brother, about how to conduct yourself, what to say, what to do, what to think. It's very little of you just don't see it like, this is how you get everything for yourself. And, it ain't no selfishness, that he's trying to, get you to, to serve yourself. Hey, Fritz, brother, good to see you. Love, light, and balance to you too, brother. Thanks for checking in, Fritz. Flips with a W, FWRITZ. Flips. Why do I like that name so much? Okay, I wanted to show a verse real quick, right? Look how he called us the supreme in all the world. You know that? I just want to see that verse to where he says that faithists, he said they're going to be supreme. There it is right there. Look at that. I just like to go to verses like that from time to time. Look what he say about you. Look, think about that for a second. Does that bless you, bless your soul? Does that bless your soul? Look at that. He talking about the chosen people of the Father in the cosmic era where you live. Look, do you look at that? He said they will become supreme in all the world. And you know what? I said to myself, I don't know how to say this because I'm going to sound unbelievable. When the creator just show you that you are faithless, really, you don't even really tend to look at trying to be all great and everything. At least I'll just speak for myself. You don't even seek those things, really. Like you want to be world famous. I'm just speaking for myself. It's even hard for me to see how you can be a faithless and for the sake of your own prestige. When you think of the Ethereans, you just can't think that You know, they get a big kick out of being better than everybody else. You don't read that about the Ethereans. Those people who were raised up to such a high level because they've gotten themselves free of the tetracts, the evil vibrations, you know, wanting to get on top of your brother, you know, wanting to be a god or a goddess, you know, wanting to be elevated above your brother, you know. The Ethereans, when you read about the Ethereans, they're totally antithetical to the world, man. I mean, they are 180 degrees from the world, man. You know, now from our perspective, we look at them and say, man, these are beings that can create worlds. They can, you know, what, you know, there's nothing that they can't do. You know, you do that to a mortal, you talking about somebody gonna be soaked in pride. Look how proud he's gonna be. Boy, you give him half, a quarter of that type of power. You know, let me say something. Man. You know, now I'm gonna talk about this brother. Now, I'm gonna also give the brother some credit. All right. I'm gonna talk about him, but in the end, I'm gonna give him some credit, right? Now, I'm gonna talk about Deion Sanders. Right? And the Creator gifted him. He gifted Deion Sanders. If those of you, matter of fact, there may be brethren who don't know who Deion Sanders is. Here he is right here. Deion Sanders. Okay, this is the brother right here. All right. Now, when he was younger, man, then the Creator gifted him incredibly. This man was gifted incredibly with an athleticism. All right. The brother, he could run like the length of a football field in like 4 seconds. All right. Now, if you've seen the size of the football, that's like incredible. That's like out of this world. All right. And the Creator gave him that gift. The Creator gave him that gift. All right. Now, when he was younger, he was totally outrageous, man. The values that he glorified were just total. I mean, you know, gold and women and you know, I'm number one, and you can't blame me. It's very rare that you can give a young man that much ability and he's not going to be proud and conceited. You see? The Ethereans, they totally the opposite, man. Now I'm pointing to Deion Sanders because it's like you give a man a little bit of ability, just a tiny bit compared to an Etherean, and he just goes buck wild, man. He's number one. He's on top of the world. You know, walking around beating your chest, you know. And you can't really blame a mortal because he don't know anything else. An Etherean, they're dedicated, man, to other people, not themselves. That's what an Etherean is. And they can do, a man can't even, you know what I mean? And so, you know, see, when this brother here was younger, man, he was just outrageous. You know, he had the world at his feet because the Creator blessed him. And he was totally narcissistic. He was materialistic. He was a prima donna, you know. That's a man for you. That's a mortal for you. Okay. And a lot of guys are like that. Young guys grow up, they want to be that way. They want to glorify themselves. And immortal, you can't blame them. You know, it's hard for a young man to have that much ability. You know, he's a very handsome man, you know, very attractive. And it's very hard to place all that in the hands of a mortal and he not be as proud of himself and narcissistic as a man can be. Now, I also saw a video to show you how the Creator can work in somebody's life, how the Creator can work. You know, now it just so happens that Deion Sanders, he's a Leo, okay? He's got a big heart, man. He's got a big heart. Big heart. And they showed a video where Deion Sanders, he caught wind of a poor brother who was working in the church. He was like the church janitor, and he showed up faithfully, even in the winter, and sometimes he didn't have shoes to wear. Yet he showed up. Now, this was a lowly brother. He was probably a faithist. And he showed up and he would clean the church without fanfare, you know, more than likely very little pay, if any pay at all, right? And then Sanders, he caught wind of him. He somehow, he was doing a promotion. I'm gonna fix my camera here. He was doing a promotion, and somebody told him about the brother, right? And at this time, Deion, he was like, he wanted to be known as prime time, right? And so they did a video. They introduced him to the brother. He showed up wearing sandals and rags. And Sanders actually broke down and cried right there on camera. Then I had respect for that man then, you know. I had a ton of respect for him then because he reminded me of an Etherean. An Etherean. How they feel about us. See, that was the Creator. That was the Creator that was working on that man's heart. He broke down and cried like a little baby, man. You know, he couldn't even, he was trying to speak and he couldn't speak because of the condition that brother was in. And that brother was doing more goodness than Deion was doing by far. Just by showing up, he was being an example, man. The brother was coming, he cleaning the church, you know, was wearing rags. It was cold outside. He was wearing sandals. He was broke down, yet he had a constitution about him that was, and anybody knows that that's good and honorable in the sight of the Creator. Anybody would, you know, you don't need, a lot of things don't need to be said, right? And so Deion sat down with him. They was talking, and the brother just busted. He just started crying, man. And then that's when I changed my mind about him. Even though still today, he's a lot about flash and bling and, you know, prime time and all that. But he showed you that when it gets right down to it, the brother's got a heart. He became an Etherean that day. That day, Deion Sanders became an Etherean because he showed a compassion that the Ethereans have. He showed a compassion, you know, and that's the world you want to live in, man. You know, we want to live, faithists want to live there where we can have compassion for our brethren. We are concerned about their situation. We're really concerned about your situation, man. I'm going to be taken care of. The Creator going to see to that, you know. Once he get us up off of this materialism, and trying to make $1 billion. Once man breaks that spirit, man, he's home free. Now you home free. And we're going to see what real living is. We're going to see it then. We ain't learned that lesson yet. We ain't learned that lesson yet. We're going to learn it. We're going to learn it, which is a good thing. So when you read the OAHSPE, your knowledge, you're great. Don't nothing else matter, man. That's the bottom line. Now, if that's all my channel's about, I'm going to say the same thing over and over again. I'm sorry if you want to be entertained and you want me to talk about controversy and how somebody fell, from on high, and now they, or somebody's in trouble, and then this ain't the channel for you. On this here channel, I'm going to talk about the Creator. I'm going to talk about his word. I'm going to talk about his will for his children, which are all men, but there are those who are being enlightened right now, and there are those who are not, but who will be. That's what it's all about. That's the whole story of the OAHSPE right there. Now, getting back to that sister that my brother was telling me about that said that I ain't let nobody tell me anything about, ain't nobody going to tell me nothing, Free will belongs to man, but consequences belong to the Creator. And plain and simply, if you are outside of his warnings, don't think that because you're a nice guy, you have a good heart. The Creator, he respects his law. I was looking at the news where it said this Israeli guy, this general, this high up guy died the other day. And now this is in addition to the thousands of people getting killed over there almost every day. But I thought about him. Every time somebody leaves their body, they go into the spiritual. I always think, man, what they doing. I don't have to wonder. I know what's going on with them right now. And I wrote, matter of fact, I made an entry about him in my book. I like to write books. And I made an entry about how he left his body. He sat by his body for 3 days. Today is the second day. He's still sitting by his body. He making prayers. He's reciting prayers and he's singing anthems to the Creator. He's got to do it today, and then he's got to do it tomorrow, and then after that, he's going to get handed over to the ASAPs, and he's going to go to his place. And it very well could be where there is chaos. He's going to be leaving the battlefield. And he'll, from what I can understand with the OAHSPE, he's going to go right back into that type of situation. You still on the battlefield, man, thinking that, a bomb is getting ready to drop here. You got to run there, dodging this bullet here. You got to, everybody get up, go over and run to the foxholes over there. And I hear bombs over here and artillery there and jets coming. And you go right back into that environment. You go right back. Remember what the Creator say about warfare? You brother know what he say about warfare, right? And it don't even have to be warfare, man. Say, you under a gang mentality, you part of a gang, you living that life, and you busy, you busy Xing people out, and dodging bullets and, and then you're gone. And now you're in the situation, you're in the spiritual, and you in the same spirit, you in the same situation, man, Now that's what the OAHSPE say. Now you think about Christian, you're a Christian. You're not on the battlefield. You're not in Cabrini Green in Chicago, projects and dodging bullets. And maybe you're in the suburbs, everything is, peaches and cream, sugar and spice and everything nice, You're a good old Christian praying to that deity and you just convinced everything is gonna be all right, man. And the Creator says, I honor my word, man. The free will is yours. The consequences are mine. I've told you what's up, And then that suburb life and the big green lawn and the vacations and the big parties and the high life. And now it's time for you to go and serve that deity. You go and serve that deity now, man, where you will know nothing different. And it could be 100 or 1,000 years and you stuck in your mind. That's what it's all about. Now I'm looking at some quick verses here. I like to look at some verses in my room on Facebook. I like to, here's my mom's ministry, where if I ever find out, man, about orphans and disabled and elderly, and somebody asks me to chip in, I will certainly, I will do it, man. I will do it. I know that that's the will of the Creator. Here's the name of my room. My brethren, they got rooms too. Here's Brother Omian's room. Brother Omian's room. He's got another room too. Let me see if I can find his other room. He's got this room right here too. Got to share the tab there. Brethren, you're going to have to bear with me a second. I got a line of sight to my van. I'm looking outside. And I see some kids out there, and it look like they might want to take it. They don't know I got a tracker in there, though. Y'all know what a tracker is? It's a GPS. Okay, I can't see him, but my van ain't moving, so hope it's okay. So anyway, here's the brother's room right here, and you just seen this video. You can where we share verses and just try to have fellowship with one another. You go back to my room, and I can give you a little idea of the things we do in the different rooms. So I'm share a couple of verses. I'm gonna do another screen presentation. The name of the video is something about reasons for failure or something like that. And Brother Dave, he turned me on to doing screen presentations, and I like it a lot, man. I really think it's a good way for brethren to learn and to make the presentations more interesting. So I love to do the presentations. I highly recommend it for any brother and sister, to start doing these things. And this is a good way, man, good way to be about the will of the Creator. And here's something that I posted in my room. It says, if you should profess to love your neighbor as yourself, they would mock you. Therefore, I declare to you, oh man, in the land of Uz. Now, the land of Uz is where we are right now. We're in the land of Uz. And really, Uz is the place of spiritual darkness. And I want to also digress for a second, man. That time of AG that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, I've noticed that the mainstream news is really censoring what's going on in our world. See, we've reached a time where you don't get told the truth. I mean, it don't get out, the things that are really happening. I'm kind of surprised this channel is still up, or any fake this channel, because the light is doing a serious hurting on the darkness, the things that are going on in the darkness, both physically and spiritually. The information is getting out, the beast kingdom being exposed like it is. I don't know, man. Just like, I don't know how this present reality, how it can go on letting this information get out. It's bound to get out one way or another, and the situation is not good. Anyway, it says here, if you should profess to love your neighbor as yourself, they would mock you. Therefore, I declare to you, O man, in the land of Uz, the Father's kingdom cannot be, because they cannot receive righteousness. They cannot receive kingdom righteousness. That's why he says, I declare to you, O man, in the land of Uz, the Father's kingdom, it cannot be. Because you go about trying to do righteously in the world, they can't understand it. It says, but you shall depart from Uz. Behold, I will go with you and with your neighbor and show you how to build, even as the kingdom in heaven is built. And we're learning that right now. We're learning that right now. Use your judgment, old man. From the time of the ancients till now, the only progress toward the Father's kingdom has been through sacrifice. What less can you expect? Are you willing to sacrifice your time, money, and self-interest for the sake of JEHOVIH's kingdom? And then I know people, they read this and they think that it means a 40-hour job where you turn over 30% of all your pay, and it don't. I mean, it's just amazing what the Creator, I mean, the little that, well, I won't say it. But it's not hard, man. I mean, when you're talking about sacrificing time, money, and your own self-interest for the sake of the kingdom, because it seems like it's something he do to you. He take your love away from the world. You don't really do anything. It seems like he do it. He just remove the world from your heart. He just remove it, man. He says, is your faith still more in weapons of death than in the voice of the everlasting life? Do you esteem your army and navy to be dependent on more than JEHOVIH? The answer is yes. In this reality, yeah. We depend on what we can do rather than what you can do, JEHOVIH. We trust in we trust in the things that we can see rather than the things that we cannot see. We rather trust in our army, our missiles, our bombs, our guns, and rule of law over what you promised you will do. That's man's mind right there. That's where we live. We live there. We live here, brethren. He says, I demand of you that you shall give up your army and navy. Are you prepared to say, to whom strikes me on one cheek, I will turn and be struck. I will turn the other and be struck also. Look at that, man. That's the Creator's righteousness. That is thorough self-abnegation. That is totally giving yourself up, man. I have to admit, I'm not ready. If I were to be honest, I would say, man, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm just not ready for that. Creator, help me, man. Behold, the kingdom of man has his powers and armies and ships of war. The kingdoms of your father do not have these. Look at this. But love, wisdom, righteousness, and peace. Love, wisdom, righteousness, and peace, man. People are sick of hearing that type of language. They say, look, man, the world is a violent place. We've been hearing about that. And still they cling to their deities, man. They cling to their deities so that we can't even hear the Father's voice anymore. We just can't hear it. Only faithists can hear it. They change in their mind, their hearts, their souls. And that's how the kingdom is being born without people even being able to see it. They can't even see it. That's how the kingdom is getting born. Okay. A brother put out a video. And time for the reading. It says, Ahoan said, no, be servant to none except OAHSPE, your creator. That's another name for the creator. His name is the watchword and the power in all the high heavens. By his name, you shall become one among godly companions. See, you know, I want to go back real quick, man, to when I was talking with my brother, and he was sharing with me, you know, about new acquaintance he had met, and, you know, just describing some, you know, she's like, and she made that statement, man, about how she ain't gonna let nobody talk her out of Christianity. It's like no matter what. And asked my brother what her sign was. He told me, and it just goes back, man, to what we're going through right now. The creator, he keep confirming the truth of astrology. He just keep confirming it, you know. We in the time, I say it all the time, we are in the time where Pluto has gone into Aquarius. Pluto has gone, or actually it's back in Capricorn until November 19th. So everybody be on the lookout for something that may happen from this time till November 19th. We don't know what. I think it could have something to do with Trump. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's like we in the time of Capricorn's last gasp. And Capricorn is power and authority and structure and foundation and economics. And so we may see a move one way or another before Pluto goes back into Aquarius. I'm telling you, brother, you know. And in regard to heaven, the heaven you wish, oh, I love this one. Check, brethren, look at this. And in regard to the heaven you wish to ascend after death, he said, magnify it with all your ingenuity to the highest perfection. You know what he's saying there? He's saying dream. Do you know what the creator is saying here? Do you, brother, know what he's saying here? The creator is saying, hey, man, dream about it. Dream about it. You know, what type of people do you want to be there? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? What do you want to do there? The creator is saying right here, he said, hey, man, dream about it. Dream about it. He says, in regard to the heaven you wish to ascend to after death, he said, magnify it with all your ingenuity. That's your mind, heart, spirit, your soul. That's your whole being, man, your whole being. He said, magnify it. Think about it, man. Dream about it. Look at it. He said, to the highest perfection. He said, then people it with your highest ideas and for your companions. What type of person you want to be? You know, you sister, you want a bunch of Denzel Washingtons running around, right? Creator said, dream about it. You know that? I know I'm being facetious, but you get my point, right? See that? He said, people it, populate it. He said, create it with your highest ideals for your companions, man. See, he's giving you permission. You just got to find a way to believe this stuff. You know what I mean? See there? He said, then see to it. Look here. He said, then see to it that you make yourself a fit companion for them also. How do you like that? Oh, I got to calm down, man, because I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited, man. He's saying that if you want to be in that situation where you're thinking about and dreaming about, he said, you make yourself the same as you want others to be. Make yourself, in that way, you make yourself a companion to those who your highest ideal of what a person should be and who you'd like to be around. You become that also. See, think it in your mind. Create it in your mind. He said, if you do this with all your wisdom and strength, all the days of your life. Look at that. The Father will be with you, and you shall be a glory in his works. See, this channel is no good for people who can't believe in things like this. I can't help you. I can't help you, you know. I just want to be blunt. Time for the reading of the word so you can read these things. You can stop the video if you want to read these. It's time for the reading of it's time for the screen presentation. The screen presentation is called the JEHOVIH's Reasons for Failures. So I'm just going through these verses again. All right, so let's go ahead and let me bring up the screen presentation. So just bear with me. Let me fix the screen. And man, I really thank the Creator that the first time was a disaster, man. Because I was just learning how to do it. And let's see. I should be able to get to it quicker now. Okay, let's see if I did it. Nope, not yet. I did something wrong, so that's all right. I'm going to fix it real quick here. I'm going to fix this one real quick. So let me keep dancing here. Just give me a second. Okay. I know how to do it now, so just bear with me. All right, see? There it is. There it is, see? You get a little better with each time, You get a little better with each time. With the screen presentation, I just want to make sure that you can read it now, read the wording. So, well, let me see. Let me ask you, brother. Can anybody see? Can you read the wording pretty well? Is the wording pretty good? That's all I need to know before I get into the presentation. Is the wording, just type 1 if you can read the wording pretty good. Can you see the wording pretty good? I know there's a delay from the time you put in the answer to the time I get it. It's about 15 seconds. But tell me if you can see, or type 1 if the wording is good. If you can see the wording, that's the only thing I don't know. Okay, Mahalia, yeah, good. All right, thanks. Great. Thank you, Mahalia. All right, may the Creator bless the reading of His word. Now, the name of the video is Reasons for Failure. Reasons for Failure. Reasons for Failure. I should have put according to the OAHSPE Bible. Now, the definition of failure. The definition, first of all, let me fix a little something here. Now, make the lettering a little. Okay, there we go. All right, now, failure is a major part of human reality. Is a major part of the human reality, but it has a purpose according to the Creator in the OAHSPE Bible. And it is often said that friction makes a diamond. And, also a pearl, how a clam, it makes a pearl with the sand because of the constant rubbing. So The process of things is what I'm trying to point to, the process of things. Same with us. Euphrates, we're in the womb, which is the earth. And you could equate the friction to like circumstances that mold our spirit with things that happen in our reality. That's us being in the clam, being molded. That's us being rubbed on, being shaped, being chipped at, being sculpted, because we're going to manifest what we have created while we are here in this reality. The world can't see it now. That's the edge, the advantage that you faithists have on the rest of the world, is you ought to know that you're sculpting yourself. If we place ourselves in the template of the Creator, and then we're going to come out what that template has meant for us to be. If we place ourselves in that template, that mold, then what do you expect you're going to come out to be? You're going to become a beautiful spiritual creation. That's the Creator telling us. The things that we want to be, the power is in your hands. If you can deal with this reality, if you can deal with the endurance part of it, if you can deal with the boredom, routine part of it, take every day and use it to your benefit, which is basically changing your attitude about, from serving yourself to serving others, whatever little way you can. That's you in the template, making yourself look beautiful. That's you in the will of the Creator. But very plain and simple. He says failure is a major part of human reality, but it has a purpose according to the Creator in the OAHSPE Bible. It is often said that friction makes a diamond. And the same principle applies to the concept, or pressure, actually. It shouldn't be pressure, this word here, it should be pressure. Let me change that right now. Pressure makes a diamond, doesn't it? It's pressure, not friction. Well, friction and pressure, it could be the same thing, but let me change that. It should be pressure makes a diamond. Pressure. Okay. So let's change that. Let me see. Let me make sure. I'm going to the internet real quick. See, I can change my presentation as I go along to put in what's right. Does pressure make a diamond? Yep. Pressure is a key factor in the formation of a diamond. And so, same thing for faithists. And a lot of that pressure is failure. Failure. It says, in this presentation, I wish to show you how our perception of failure means all the difference in the world as to whether we benefit from this aspect of life or not. So we will also observe what the Creator has to say about his reasons and purposes for failure, historically and contemporaneously, in appealing to his wisdom, so that the faithists may learn a lesson. The faithists may learn a lesson. Okay. Now, the definition of failure is lack of success. Lack of success. Lack of success. Lack of success. So, failure is the precondition also of a future God and goddess. Failure is the precondition also, precondition of a future God and goddess. Now, what book is that right there? Now, shoot. I want to know what book that is. I don't want to let that slide. What book is that? Okay, hold on one second, brother. You see, that was book 10. Now, book 10 is the book of Op. The book of Op. The book of Op. Now, I'm gonna put that in real quick. The book of Op. Book of Op. All right, good enough. Got it. Okay, now failure is a precondition of a future god and goddess. And then if you read the OAHSPE, you'll see it's got a lot of stories about fallen gods, lords, and angels. In the book of Op, chapter 1, verse 25, it says, yes, the conceited man would fail himself were it not for the failures I set up before him. In what way then have I not created wisely? So the creator is saying that unless he had put up these stumbling blocks, and it goes along with another verse in the Bible even where it says that unless I had been afflicted, I would have went astray. So the creator, he allows these failures so that man would elevate. He would fail himself. The creator says he would fail himself. He says, yes, he said the conceited man would fail if it were not for the failures that the creator says I set up before him. So he asks, so how am I wrong in doing that? In what way then have I not created wisely? So we see a faithless can learn lessons from a conceited man concerning the purposes of Jehovah. We can learn. And also from the failures that happen in our life too. Now, but why? Why? And I forgot to put the book of Op again. But why? In the book of Op, in chapter 1, verse 26, it says, do I not have the right? Make the lettering bigger. Do I not have the right to do it my own way? Are all things not mine? If a man dies in the corporal part, is he a failure? How else could man rise to my enduring worlds? How else can man rise to my enduring worlds? The Creator says, do I not have a right to do my own way? Are all things not mine? All men are his. All men, women, and children are his. He's saying, I have the right to do what I want with mine. They're mine. I do what I want with them. You should be happy that I do it for their blessing. He says they're mine. People are mine. Everybody is mine. I do with them as I please, really. But the Creator says, if I don't do this, then how else could a man rise to my ethereal worlds? See, how else could he rise? If I let him live in blessing. When we looked at Deion Sanders earlier, you saw what happened to a man when the Creator gives him great gifts. You see it in this world. They immediately, men immediately become proud and vain. See, he don't give no thought to the Creator. He believe he did it himself. See, he needs to fail so he can be humbled, man. He needs failure. He said, how else can a man rise to my ethereal worlds? He said, open his eyes, oh my God and my Lords. He was not, and I created him. He presumes to look into my plans and judgments by his little learning. See, look at that, his little learning. He exalts his conceit, his little talent. Deion Sanders' little abilities. The Creator says those are little abilities that you can run a football field in nearly 4 seconds. He says that's a little ability according to his ethereal worlds. He has so much greater in mind. Then you get a little crumb of my blessing, and immediately you start running around talking about I am the greatest. I am the greatest. And you pretend to know all things, man. See, he's got man pegged, the Creator. He's got us pegged. If he made us all great, man, we'd be lost. We would be lost. We'd be lost, man. And then it says, but why? That's what, man, he sounds like. Why? When you ask a little child, you say something to a little child, they say, why? How? When? Why? And then in the book of Frag and Patty, the Creator says, it is a strong man who can recount his own failures and say he glorifies the Father because of him. So the Creator, he credits a man who, after he falls the 1 billionth time, and then he gets up and says, I want to thank the Creator for putting me through these things, because if he hadn't, then I would have been worse off than what I am now. I probably never would have given credit to the Creator. And the Creator says he respects that. He said he respect that. That's a man that's learned his lesson. Now that's a man that he can use. He can use that man, And I testify that happened in my own life. After the Creator showed me, don't try to think that you're anything. And after all the failures that, that he had to put me through and to get me to stop thinking that, I'm the greatest thing that's ever lived. And man, this and that. And like young men tend to think, just because he give you a little tiny little bit of talent to do this thing or that, and immediately a man, he wants a credit, he wants somebody to acknowledge him all the time. He gets real proud, man. It is through strength that failure comes. It is through strength that failure comes. But why? What are the reasons for failure in my life according to the Creator? Why? Give me another reason. In the book of Divinity, it says, but even God fails at times, even gods. Because all persons learn by failures in the book of Divinity that there are higher powers. Only JEHOVIH never fails. So there's another reason we learn as if I know you've already known this. I know we already know this. Just anything, we're just being reminded. We learn, at least the wise man, he's going to learn by his failures to humble himself in the sight of the Creator. in the sight of the Creator. It says, but why? But why? Why do we have to have failures in life? Why? And I forgot to put the book number down again, man. So that's one thing I got to work on. I got to put the book numbers down. See, book 23 is the book of Sepenta Armage, daughter of JEHOVIH. Sepenta Armage, book of JEHOVIH. So it says, by learning, or it says, by trying me, Joey said, by trying me, there is the beginning. By trying me. By trying me, there is a beginning. By learning to know your own power in me and to know my power in you, this is the sum of all power and wisdom. Let me see if I can make the lettering bigger. So he says that by testing him, by learning to know your own power in me and to know my power in you, this is the sum of all power and wisdom. By the lack of faith in me, man sets up himself. By the lack of faith in me, the self-assuming gods build kingdoms for themselves. So you lack faith. So that's breeding ground for the false gods to come and to use you to help to build up their kingdom. Their kingdom. Creator says the failure of man is proof of my power. Failure of man is proof of his power. He says the failure of all kingdoms is proof of the lack of faith in me, which proves my power is manifested over them. First, after the abjuring of self, meaning the getting rid of the mind of me. First, after abjuring the mind, abjuring the self, the mind of me. After that, if you get rid of that, then comes constant manifestation of power through faith. The example which holds the multitude to me of my works. And when we let go of me, and we turn into him, then our power begins to manifest. Okay. And the question has been asked, why can't I just have it easy? Why do I have to go through failure? Why can't I just have it easy? Why do I have to go through failure? And it says in the book of Pragapati, and yet who has not witnessed more failure than success? So it's not just you. It's the whole world that has gone through the same things that the rest have gone through. You can see the pattern in that the Creator, he gives man failure. He gives him affliction. He gives him oppression. It says in the book of Sepenta Armage, failure is practicable. It's practicable. It's practicable. I should have put the definition for practicable. The definition of practicable. Now, you brethren ain't going to be able to see this, but I'm going to go to the internet and get the definition. What is the definition of practicable? And it means feasible, realistic, possible. It means within reason. It means that which is viable, reasonable, realistic, feasible, possible. So because failure is reasonable, realistic, possible, practicable, that which is realistic, that can happen. That which is possible, that can happen. That which is realistic, that can happen. The things that happen are practicable. The true faithist knows nothing is impracticable. Make the screen bigger here. It says the true faithist knows nothing impracticable, meaning the faithist knows there's a purpose behind everything. The true faithist knows nothing is impracticable, but does his utmost for his highest light, though failure stares him in the face. So you can see the Creator. Another reason that he allows failure is for basically your character. Because failure is a way to test your resolve, whether you can have resolve, which is what keeps you able to endure. Y'all ever see that movie called Wall Street? Wall Street, where, the Wall Street movie? And there was a scene in the movie where Bud, you remember Bud in the movie Wall Street? Bud, where he got busted finally for insider trading in Wall Street. Not to spoil the movie for those of you who haven't seen it. It's like a classic. Y'all remember the part where Bud, he got busted. And they were coming to arrest him. And before they actually got to the floor they were at, the boss came and got Bud, and he put his arm around him and he talked to him. And he told him a story. He said, Bud, a man stares into the abyss, and then he sees nothing staring back at him. And then he said that at that moment is when the man, what did it say? No, I'm doing it wrong. He said, a man stares into the abyss. He sees nothing looking back at him. Oh, okay. He said, and then that is what keeps the man out of the abyss. And so what he was saying is that when you can, I have to paraphrase. It means that your character, if your character is righteous, then you won't be induced to go after the less savory things that life will present you with. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you stare into uncertainty, you stare into, well, that's the best word, uncertainty, doubt, confusion, temptation, but you are able to maintain a righteous character, then that is what will keep you out of the dangers of the things that present themselves to you. Basically, if you are able to you are able to maintain the principles that the Creator instills in you, then that will keep us out of the dangers that our reality is going to bring to us. If that makes any sense, I hope it does. It says, the true faithist knows nothing impracticable, but does his utmost for his highest light, even if you are unsuccessful. It says, though failure stare you in the face, the projects that you take on, if you see no fruit in them, you don't think you're successful. The Creator, he says, don't let that discourage you. Don't let that discourage you. His thing is for you to not look at whether you are successful or you are a failure. He says, for once distrust of weakness enters the human soul, the man slides backward down the hill of faith, while he who will not consider results. See, the faithist, he will not consider, he don't look at the results. He says his only thing is to serve JEHOVIH right on, fail or not, rises even though his project fails. So remember how I was saying a couple of videos ago how we don't know what we look like spiritually, and I was showing you the picture of that bodybuilder and how that was given to me like a few weeks ago, where I don't know why, but I clicked on this guy. He was he had a strange name, and I think it even might have been I can't say by mistake, but I was caused to look at him, and then the thought entered my mind, Yaquab, that's what you look like. You look like, and I internalized it to mean that's what you faithists look like. You look like that bodybuilder. His name was Nasser El Sanbadi. Nasser El Sanbadi. And he looks like a freak of nature, man. And the thought that came to me was, Yaquab, that's what you look like. That's what your brethren look like spiritually. Y'all don't even know what y'all look like believing in the Creator like this, making a covenant with the Creator. You look like this dude right here. You know? He says, for once distrust of weakness enters the human soul, the man slides backward down the hill of faith, while he who will not consider results. Don't look at results. When you want to if you want to take on a work, you want to minister to brethren, the Creator say, don't look at results. Don't look at views. Don't look at lack of participation. Don't get frustrated. You just keep doing it. You just keep doing it. And I'll tell you what you look like. JEHOVIH says your project, it rises even though your project fails. It says it rises. Your project, it rises even though it looks like it's failing. See? That's what the Creator says. See? Character, endurance. Don't look at results. Don't look at, see? Failure teaches you humility. Remember Ahijah? Ahijah, he fell, did a lot of damage, man. Ahijah, remember him? Ahijah. I've got a before and after snapshot of Ahijah, right? He became a false god, and then he got turned around. Now the before Ahijah, and I didn't put the book down. I forgot. I keep forgetting to put the book down. I didn't put the book number down. Now, this was the book of wars against JEHOVIH. This comes from the book of wars against JEHOVIH. And I'm trying to copy it so I can include it here in my presentation. Okay, so Book of Wars against JEHOVIH. And it says Satan came against, see, this is the account where Satan, he influenced Ahijah to become a false god. And it says Satan came to him again. Satan came again to him and said, listen to my voice, and you should triumph over all other gods. And Ahijah said, what shall I do? And then when all was said and done, the picture of Ahijah afterwards, and let me get the book title again. Okay, so I can put it in here for next time, because I'll probably end up doing this study again. So the snapshot of Ahijah, when he got finished getting worked on, we see a change of attitude. It says, Ahijah said, into your service, O Jehovah, I commit myself forever. Give me of your love, wisdom, and power. So that I may glorify you and your kingdom. See? So he got taught humility now. And he went to work in the service of Jehovah. Now he went to work in the service of Jehovah. And then you see a documented history. Can't go into all of them right now. A fallen history, a documented history of the failure of fallen gods and man. So it's a major plan of the Creator. Look at all these fallen gods. And it says, additionally, there were others who were not named in this group, but were part of the group. They were referred to as false gods and goddesses. It says this group was brought before God for judgment and was associated with chaos in the spiritual realm. Okay. Then it says failure can teach us the effect we can have on other people and blunt our spiritual progress. Now, even in the Bible, in 1 Corinthians, it says, now all these things happened to them, talking about the Israelites, were examples, and they were written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. And so by now, it's easy to see that the Creator is a purpose for allowing mortals to endure failure and suffering, which go hand in hand. Ultimately, it's for spiritual ascension. OAHSPE Bible has provided us with historical events and used them to illustrate actions and outcomes. For the sake of our learning, we read in the OAHSPE Bible that our mortality serves a spiritual benefit that we are called to take advantage of, because one way or another, the Creator's will be done concerning us eventually. Take note of that. The Creator's will is going to be done, okay? Creator's will is going to be done one way or another. Freedom belongs to man, but the consequences belong to the Creator. It says, we stand as the envy of those who have gone on before us and found themselves to be duped by the pull of the earth into fleshly pursuits exclusively, meaning by those who have chosen to serve the flesh instead of the spirit. What we can learn from the example of Luamon: number one, regret. Luamon, false god, Christianity, regret. Luamon came to regret. He came to regret for what he did. Chapter 47, Esra. God, son of Jehovah, said, now behold, even Luamon, the false god, he bewailed the wars and also bewailed his own doctrines. Again, what we can learn from the example of Luamon, acknowledgement. He acknowledges the Creator. Luamon cried out in his despair, saying, to whom shall I pray, O you Holy Ghost? you shadow, you nothing. He's talking about his own doctrine, which he perpetrated on mortals, on men, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. But he was made to acknowledge his lie to the Creator. He acknowledges, he says, that doctrine is nothing. You shadow, you nothing. And people still hold on to that today. Failures are largely attributed to cataracts. They're like a brick wall, man. Stop you in your tracks. Now, we won't go into it, but cataracts are evil influences that seek to gain dominion over our spirit will, to elevate with the purpose of reducing our spiritual grade. And we shall pursue this. In another study, we'll look at the cataracts more in depth. Fundamentals, our failures are fundamental to character growth. Then we read in the book of Wars, it says, on the other hand, the true God, Son of JEHOVIH, sent word from his throne in OAHSPE. And OAHSPE means like those who are chosen, to guardian angels dwelling with these mortals who were so unmindful of the Father's care. He said, come, defeat disaster or terrible darkness, overpowering your utmost strength. Still, struggle on in the name of JEHOVIH. I didn't read that right. It says, on the other hand, the true God, Son of JEHOVIH, sent word from his throne in OAHSPE to the guardian angels dwelling with these mortals who were so unmindful of the Father's care. He said, come, defeat disaster or terrible darkness, overpowering your utmost strength. Still struggle on in the name of JEHOVIH. The true faithist knows nothing impracticable, but does his utmost for the highest light, though failure stares him in the face. So we looked at this verse before. So the angel in OAHSPE is encouraging the angels who are dwelling with mortals to endure, come, defeat disaster, terrible darkness that's overpowering your utmost strength. He says, struggle on. Struggle on. Your character is what is issue here. Your character is the important thing here, and it's going to, the benefit to your character is what is at issue here. Your ability to endure in the face of suffering and affliction. Character growth. What is the purpose of the faithist? To make a covenant with JEHOVIH, to serve him as described in the document OAHSPE. That's our purpose. A practical guidebook to the spiritual life, and to live in alignment with the principles of righteousness, love, good works, while fostering a relationship with the ever-present person, JEHOVIH. We are depicted as striving for spiritual freedom and are seen as the chosen people of the Creator. We are tasked with practicing harmony, contributing positively to the well-being of others. It says faithists are encouraged to abjure self-interest, love of self, and instead unite in brotherhood to do good for others. Their ultimate goal is to create a paradise of peace and love on the earth, thereby embodying the teachings of JEHOVIH in both word and action. They are characterized by their commitment to non-resistance, returning good for evil, and living together as a community of spiritual beings, thereby promoting a vision of universal harmony and the development of themselves and humanity as a whole. And that, my brethren, will conclude the reading of the end of the presentation of video, failure, the purposes of failure, or however I did it, whatever I said, the title, JEHOVIH's Reasons for Failure. So that will be the end of the presentation, brethren. If anyone has anything to share, you want to share something, you want to say something, then I'm put the link in the chat. If anybody wants to share anything about what we talked about, put the link in there. I'll hang out for a few minutes to see if anybody wants to say anything. So, brethren, we see that our situation is a temporary situation. We see the reason for it, and that failure is a part of it, and it's for your character. It's for the benefit of Faithus, so that we shape our character. See, it's a terrible thing, man, because we know if you ask the whole world, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? They all probably have somebody in mind. Basically, that's the bottom line. Have somebody in mind. And the Creator he basically says, like, well, you have that opportunity to be beautiful. My standard of beauty is this. The more you're able to defeat yourself and put on me, which is self-abnegation. I'm trying to think of another word. It's kind of a long word. The spirit of esteeming, somehow being able to esteem your brethren as above yourself. If we can somehow learn that, that's what you might call the template of JEHOVIH. Everything else is like secondary. Once we put on that vibration, that character, that mindset, then it's like Creator, he does the rest. Once we decide, we make that decision that we want to we want to place ourselves in the mold of JEHOVIH, then he takes over from there, is what it sounds like. The Creator takes over from there. Matter of fact, I'm thinking of a Bible verse where it says that if something about how if first there is the will, then there's something else I forget. I won't chase it right now. Time for the end of the video. So, brethren, that's the best I can do on this subject right here. I want to thank you. Thank you for joining me. Pray that the Creator, that he'll bless you, that the Creator will give us the wisdom, he'll give us the knowledge, that he'll give us the assurance, the things that we really desire in our heart, help us to fulfill his will for the kingdom to come, which surely it must come. So, brethren, again, thank you for joining me. I want to give thanks to the Creator for this opportunity to be a light while I'm in this reality. And brethren, until I see you again on video, Creator willing, tomorrow, peace, love, light, wisdom, balance, knowledge, and all those good things be given unto you. And until I see you again, peace be unto you. Shalom.